What if I tell you that it's easier now more than ever to make your first six figures? It's easier more than ever now to make your first seven figures. No, 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 hold up. I know you're saying, Sherry, okay, I can literally feel the eye rolling. I know you're saying like, Sherry, I hear you, but right now we are in a trust recession and people are not wanting to spend a disposable income, and I can hear all of this stuff. I can literally hear you telling me all of the objection that's coming to mind as I state this to you. And be that it may, let's talk about why you think that. And more than likely, if you think that way, that is because you are growing a business as if you are in 2018. I remember in 2018 when I am delivering a message or a creating impact or creating something that's going to generate sales, the amount of moving parts that I had to have just to bring it to light. Let me give you an example, like this YouTube channel. When I used to create YouTube back in the days, it used to be so overwhelming. Here's what I mean by that. Just one YouTube video is going to require me reaching out to a Fiverr person to edit the video and to get the thumbnail done and making sure it's SEO friendly and all that jazz. So, and then have my virtual assistant upload it to you. And that's one video. And if I'm planning to do that one time a week for 360 days, you do the math. Okay. So, yes, those moving parts was super exhausting. And there's no guarantee that when I do all of that, that it was going to make a sale. Right. And then let's talk about our business. To make a sale back in the days, they used to say, tell you, grow your email list. So you generate a lead magnet to grow that email list. And you got to create an email, the lead magnet, maybe in Canva. Then when you create the lead magnet, you got to send 20 to 30 emails just to get one yes. You got to nurture them to death to get them to say yes. So that means you need a whole bunch of people coming to your email list, and there are half of them on that list are just freebie seekers. So again, the exhaustion from all of this stuff of you having to physically do all these things, all these moving parts, and even if you're not doing it, you do have help. It seems like it takes a whole small corporation just for you to generate the sale and make the impact that necessary for you to make. Whew, and it was exhausting to the point where some people are like, online marketing is not for me. Online space selling is not for me. I give it up. That's it. I'm throwing in a towel. This is not for me. And I get it. And as they should, because it was a lot for me too. So then here comes the lack of inconsistency because it just requires so many moving parts just to do one marketing. But somewhere down the line, a new thing has emerged, a new thing, even with the trust recession that we currently have, a new way of marketing came where the 5, 6 different funnel that we had to have, the tech part of what we had to have, kind of went out the door. And I'm watching as the tech got replaced, the actual physical tech of the funnel got replaced with better messaging, with buyer ready message, where your message is now the funnel. Let me dive deeper. Give me a second to dive deeper. Where you can meet someone who get to know your brand, a co-person. Let me give you an example. I was dropping my son off to school the other day, and as soon as I dropped him off to school, this was January 26th, 27th, January 27th, 27th, 28th of 2026. And I'm dropping my son off to school, and all I keep hearing from my phone was ding, ding. I kept hearing these notifications coming off my phone. And when I look at my phone, it was a Stripe notification coming in. And I was like, okay, I just wait till I get home to see what it's all about. But before I could get home, I heard another ding. And when I heard the other ding, I said, okay, there are strangers who's never met me is buying my product while I'm dropping my son off to school. And I'm like, huh. And these strangers, I didn't have to gyrate on TikTok. I didn't have to create this massive, complicated funnel. I didn't have to get on Fiverr and create this YouTube thing that take 5 years just to get delivered to you with all the moving parts. All I did was create an offer that had buyer ready message built into that offer, that sales psychology built in, and got a cold person who's never met me a day in their life on the internet. And that got them to say yes to my offer. And literally the offer got delivered to them in one setting. They didn't have to wait. Didn't have to wait for the masterclass. They didn't have to wait for the webinar, and the webinar is coming up. No, in 5 days, even though you need the answer to whatever the problem is today. And they can watch it at their own leisure. And the driving force behind what I just said of why they were able to say yes to me in less than 72 hours, the driving force behind that was the message, was the messaging. And that completely changed my life. That completely changed the way how I look at messaging, the way how I look at marketing my business. Because I realized that I could make sales and keep a low overhead, and I could create an offer once and I just keep selling that offer, and that would simplify this, making that six figure. The buyer ready message doesn't teach, because the message removes the resistance and it shifts belief. It handles objection like, it's not the right time, I don't have the money, it won't work for me, I already tried that. I didn't have to get on a sales call and trying to convince someone of something of what they say they want and why they're stuck. Right? But before they ever say it out loud, when belief shifts, buying speeds up. So I want to kind of stay there for a second with you, because if you're ever feeling like, oh my God, it is so harder now to make six figures, everyone in behind you is saying something different. They're like, what are you talking about? Like, are you kidding me? What are you They're looking at you like, really? Are you kidding me? The lead magnet, the landing page, the email sequence, the retargeting, the CRM, the tech support that they had to have just to deliver one offer to you was ridiculous. Now 90% of now people are just doing the checkout page. It felt like they needed a whole small corporation. And that's why it took me so long to go from 10K to 20K to 40K, because it just, the requirement of what that looks like. Not because your offer is weak, but the delivery system was heavy. So income technology, as in AI. So as we shift through this new AI world, the messaging becomes the funnel, and all this overhead stuff and money that we had to pay for get out the door. Out the door, be gone. Be gone. So instead of focusing on, I see so many people focus on the wrong part of their business. They're building a back end of offer, and there's nobody even coming into the front end of the offer to validate if the back end it makes sense. And the only way to validate that is to really focus on making sure you have enough traffic coming in the back end. Now, Sherry, how do I make sure I get enough traffic to come in the back end? What I have been saying, buyer ready message. Now, what's a buyer ready message? Just break that down. I have a whole course that I teach on this, the buyer ready messaging matrix. I leave a link below with that. But think of the buyer ready messaging matrix is a way of how you embed sales psychology in your content to reframe and shift someone's belief. When a person is reading your content, they are literally read it from the perspective of resistance, doubt, self sabotage, overthinking, imposter syndrome, all the negative thing you can think of. So your job is to create clarity and show them how your offer or your thing resonate with where they are and where they could be possible, where they could possibly be. And if we're in a trust recession, that means people want certainty. And people are like, well, how do you give certainty when you can't guarantee that the person is a good fit? You can't guarantee the person work ethics. Because one of the ladies, I got a DM from someone, and she was like, Sherry, I want to leave my nursing business, and I want to be able to make daily sales as well. I want to be able to do that. How can I do it the way you do? How long will it take for me to be where you are? And I remember saying to her, listen, I said, for legal purposes, I can't guarantee, because I don't know your work ethics. I don't know your capacity, and I definitely don't know your emotional intelligence, right? Your maturity level. I don't know that. But what I do know, I can speak from people who have embedded this engine, have built this model out. People who are telling me that they are getting a call, or they are on vacation with their family and they're making sales. They're waking up to silent money or sleeping money. I can speak from them. I can speak from that space, that they have implemented the work. They're proven that the strategy work. So the only reason the strategy wouldn't work if you stop believing, or you're not shifting your identity to a new identity to take on this new strategy. There's a whole other video all by itself. So now, for me, when it comes to certainty, when people are working with me, it's more for me saying, hey, this is where you need to be. This is where you have to be at when it comes for me to say, yes, here's what we got going on. Here's what we're going to do for you. So when we're talking about making six figures, now all you need is a belief shifting built-in sales psychology message to get it out there in the world. And what happened is the message will land on your ideal client, and then that message will allow your ideal client to self-select themselves to say yes to your offer. To say yes to your offer. Let me say it again. Self-select themselves. Why? Because that is how certain, how clear your buyer ready message perform, to the point where a person will see themselves in your message and say, oh, you're talking to me. Or, oh, I never look at it in that manner. Interesting. Because the buyer ready messaging matrix, what it does, and I'm going to switch over to my handy dandy iPad. The buyer ready messaging matrix, what this matrix is subconsciously doing, it think of it, the different type of resistance of building blocks of what people have. So when people are talking to you, right, they already come with these building blocks that you did not create. Life has created these blocks for you. So they have ego, which is edging God out. Ego. They have money trauma. They have imposter syndrome. Oh, but yeah, they have imposters. They have imposter syndrome. I will say that they have limiting belief, because but some people do. Yeah, some people have that imposter syndrome. They're like, I don't know if I don't know. I'm shy. And some people even say that's another one. Introvert, right? They may say they're an introvert. I have some introvert that follow me. But all of these are what we call that resist. They're resisting. They have resistance. Their resistance is up. So these doubts that are up, they're in their doubt stage. These doubt that they have that are created, there's there's no there's not enough testimonials that you can show. There's not enough third party findings that you can show that will speak to these blocks. There's not enough of them that will speak to these blocks right here that they have up. I call these blocks, they're red because they're like hard. They won't let you in. You have to come in. The only way to get these people is to find a message that speak to the emotions and logic of that person. Mostly emotions. So I would say 90% emotions or 80% emotions and 20% logic. And that's what we call a buyer ready message, because that message is there. The goal of that message, the idea of what the message is supposed to do, the message is supposed to break down your blocks. So every wall of resistance that they have up, when you write your content, when you do a talking head like speaking like now, when you're on YouTube, when you do a podcast, whatever your marketing strategy is, understand the idea behind the buyer ready message. The idea behind that is to break those blocks down. Is to like literally break them down and come in here and give them new perspective, new idea, new way of thinking. A person belief about what they're thinking only be shift to you for you unless you give them a new story. So you have to rewrite their story for them and show them what's possible. And because when you're able to speak to a person's story, when you're able to create buyer ready message that breaks down these matrix, and when you're able to do that, you're giving a person a new hope, a new belief, a new way of living, a new identity, all of that jazz. You actually feel like through God, through you, you're saving them again. I have a client right now that came into one of my challenge, and from the challenge she went on into my coaching program, and she stayed in my coaching program. I think this is her fifth or sixth year, and I just got another testimonial from her. Now let me explain to you. The testimonial is not about how much amazing money she made, but a testimonial was about her wanting a resource of something, and inside our group, the next move, inside of that group, she met someone in our group that helped her to close a $13,000 deal. Yeah, yeah. She met someone that she needed help with something, and that person who she met inside of our group, inside of our next move, they were able to help her close that deal. Now, mind you, when as faith would have it, why, if she hadn't said yes to herself, if she had not invested in herself, she would not have met that other person, and neither would that other person too. Now, I just want to state it for a second. Both of these individuals got into the group using a buyer ready message and matrix. Me using that buyer rating messaging matrix, they saw the market and it came in, they say yes to being inside of our group, and the rest was history. They became friends and all that jazz, and that happened constantly. That's why we are better as a community together. That's why greatness is not built in isolation. So, but what got them there to where she can get her own breakthrough, where she can get her own thing done, where she was able to get that amount of money, is because of her meeting that person, is because she saw a marketing from me. She saw words from me. She saw me speaking. And that's the same way how your ideal client need to hear from you as well. How your ideal client need to hear you putting out message that's resonate with their soul, that give them clarity and certainty to break their belief down of what they've been having. Just break it down for them. So if you want to make your six figures, I want you to really audit, and this is something I do for my clients, audit their message, your message of how you're talking. Are you talking from a 2018 life of what happened to you back in 2018 of your past life? Or are you talking in a way of where your future self, your new identity of where you want to be? Are you talking from that transformational life? Or are you talking from the existing life or your past life? Because your past life going to give you past type of clients. But when you shift to realizing that the words and message and the content that you put out there in the world, that is what's bringing you client, and not a expensive funnel. It's not a lead magnet that's bringing you clients. It's the actual message on the lead magnet. It's the actual message on the landing page, on the sales page, the words that you say in that course that is having them ascend into another offer of yours. That's what's powerful. And that's where you focus all your attention. And sadly to say, most of the time people don't focus on that. They focus on the actual product itself. When no one will see the product because it's on the back end of your model. So if I can encourage you right now that where should you follow one course until successful, it should be your buyer ready message. Create message that move people to get them to say yes. That breaks down these challenging and limiting beliefs that they have in their mind. That breaks these things down and move them from doubt, from resistance, and move them into a place where they can see themselves in the life that they desire. Really quick, when we talk about buyer ready messaging matrix, when you know that you can use words to turn your words into money, you become powerful. Because there's nothing in this world, there's not anything in this world that you cannot have. My husband, whenever we're talking, he's like, I don't like talking to you because you're using your sales psychology talk on me, and I don't like it. I'm telling you, it becomes an embodiment of who you are. I'm like, I really not. This is just me talking. So let me kind of break this down for you of what he's saying. He's so smart. I love him so much. Okay. So there is you and there is a new you. Oh. And there's a you 2.0. I'll put that. Okay. The you is the old way, limiting belief, money blocks. This can't happen to me. It can happen to other people, but it can't happen to me. This is the you that is like this. There's no way this can happen for me. It's not for me. But then you decided that I'm gonna try on a new me. I'm gonna try on and speak in life into the life that I desire. We are heading on vacation in a few days, and my business will work while I'm gone. Like my audience or my tribe won't even know that I'm on vacation because the business work as if. Like more than likely when you see this video, I already went on vacation and came back. That's the idea. My message is still out there talking to you. But you're in the matrix. You're in the matrix. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Right? Because I chose a new me, a new way, a new you. And that new you only speak from the level of the outcome you desire. The only time you go back in your message is to remind people where you are. When I go back into my message, where wrote my book about how I got started on online space and my journey and my son getting sick and so on, I only go back to tell people what's possible for them too. And that's what I want. I want you to create content, create buyer ready message that speaks from the outcome of the life that you desire. Because what happened is people automatically attract themselves to your words, and they magnetize themselves to your words, and then you start attracting you. You start attracting many yous. So if you're feeling like you're not attracting the right people right now, more than likely you're talking to that outdated version. You're talking to an outdated version, and you need to come into this space right here, a new version, and speak from her perspective. That's who you need to come into. It doesn't matter how great your grammar is. It doesn't matter none of that stuff. It's about creating messages that speak to your target audience and get them to see you as the answer instead of seeing you as the option. There's a lot of people that do what you do, but how do you stand out? You stand out by creating buyer-ready message with built-in sales psychology that breaks down the limiting beliefs and sales objection and resistance that your ideal client have. You didn't create it, but you just got to become the guide to reframe their mind and shift their perspective. Because once you reframe and shift perspective, it automatically creates an empowering effect that carries that person that says, hey, I can lift a stone across the hill. I'll leave you with this. I was at my son middle school soccer game, and the soccer coach gathered everyone together, and his coach gave them this speech. Oh Jesus, I'm getting chills just think about his speech. And he is like, guys, I know you're tired. Oh, he says, I know you're tired. And I know we only have a few minutes left on the clock, and you've been playing all night. And I know you're exhausted, but you're so close. You're so close to finishing, because they were up, but one more goal from the other team would tie the team up and they would not win. And this team has beat them before. So this is their second time meeting this team. And in his voice, he literally became that Martin Luther King in that moment, and we shall overcome type of speech. And he's going in on them and telling them, listen, I know you are tired. I know you are exhausted. I can see the sweat on your face. And I'm looking at them. They're so intrigued to what their coach is saying. And they're sitting on the benches like they didn't have enough more to give. They just didn't have enough more to go. And he's sitting there and he's letting them know that, listen, if you can just hang on for that few minutes, until that ref blows the whistle, until the game is over. If you can block the ball from getting in the net of your goal, we win the game. That's all you have to do. And I remember, like, they put their hands in, they called the team, and they went out there and they were on fire. They were so on fire. Listen, even the goalie, there were twice when they tried to kick the ball in, the opposite team tried to kick the ball in. The goalie, it knocks out the goalie hand. He was quick on his feet and he went and grabbed it. I was so proud of him. And they won. The ref blew that whistle and they won that game. Now I can tell you that their skills and all that and the goalie was so good. No. They won the game based on the words that came out of that coach's mouth. Based on the words that came out of coach's mouth. I want to say his name so bad, but I don't want to do that to him. But that's why they won the game. They had little in. That's the power of what words do. That's the power of what words can do. You don't need a big funnel and a Fiverr to make six figures. Get better at speaking. Get better communicating. You don't have to have the best grammar, because God knows I don't. I'm from a different country, have a second accent. Listen, but knowing how to speak to people and creating buyer-ready message that let them know that, hey, this does not have to be the way it is. You can choose another path. You can choose another way. Get them to see that your offer does this for them. And yes, you've tried other offers before. I get it, but you're in a different place in your life. But now you're a new person. We're creating a new opportunity, new stories. And guess what? When it's dialed in, just imagine what you look like on the other side. On the other side, smarter, more financially stable, have your time back, making sales every day. Get to choose what you do from what you not do. Get to go on cruises with your family of 70 people going on a cruise with your family. And you don't have to ask a boss, can you go? Take your kids to the Disney cruise. Things that they would never experience if it weren't for you. All because you chose to focus on creating buyer ready message. All because you focus on communicating better to your audience. Isn't that powerful? Oh my gosh. Now that was some things. All right. That's all I got for you today. See you in the next video. It's the girl Sherry Somerville. I'll talk to you later.